You're just not going to.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. That is about all I have prepared for today's deep dive, as we are going to talk about week 17 of the football season. And honestly, like the season has gone off the rails a little bit. These last 2 weeks feel pretty meaningless. There's a lot of games that we can spare relatively light work with. Oh, whoa. What? How did you pull that off? I was wearing my hat last night. I forgot it today. You have one too. Oh, this is
great. It's Christmas.
Wonderful.
Merry
We're wearing
Christmas,
Christmas
guys.
hats. If you're listening to this in podcast form, you're missing the best part of the show, which is I do have my my jingle bells on.
Oh God.
I will try to keep that quiet. But anyway, let's get right into this, man, because people have family commitments, things like that. They just would like to be refreshed on what the market says, what the injuries are, what we think about these teams and these games. And we start with the Chiefs, right? Is that the first game?
Yeah, I will. Drew's been traveling. I'm about ready to travel. I have 2 different Christmases I got to go to this week.
Shit, man.
Several hours away. One of them's tomorrow. One of them is in South Dakota over the weekend. But yeah, it is a full slate. We'll try to run through them quickly, but still cover what we can. So yeah, Christmas Day, which is again why we had the Saturday games. All 4 of these Christmas Day games are short rest weeks, but all 4 teams just crisscross wife swapped. Yeah, so it's equal.
What? The wife swap Christmas.
It is like wife swap Christmas. Yeah. This is the upside down pineapple Christmas slate. So this is your 1 p.m. noon Kansas City at Pittsburgh. Your look ahead was Kansas City -2, opens -2.5. We're out to a cheap 3 in some spots. This total has been bet up as well. Look ahead is 42.5 on up to 43 on open, 44 right now, I believe. Joey Porter Jr. is out after he was injured last week. Pickens fully practicing. He finally might make a return after missing a couple weeks. And then Kansas City has more of the maybes, ifs, and buts, which is, I guess, on a short week makes sense. DJ Humphries is out, but Chris Jones is going to be listed as questionable. Feel like he goes.
You think he does?
It's the same thing we do. I say this every time we have an argument on a defensive lineman. It's like, yeah, they activate him, and then they just play him like 15 plays where they need him. Okay. Now, it feels like they can do that. It wouldn't surprise me if he's sad because it is a calf strain. Jawan Taylor listed as questionable as well, the right tackle. Not that the backups have been any worse. My entire handicap on this is that my numbers say Pittsburgh. I can only make this like 1.5, but going back to it, we have the Tomlin on a short week stuff.
I don't
want to say like some huge coaching mismatch, but Tomlin on a short week has been bad at times apparently, and I'm wondering where you think of the Kansas City defense, because his total has been bet up. And if Pickens is in, it feels like the secondary can be picked on. This total probably should be a little higher.
I have very few bets in this week, but over in this game is one of them. It just comes down to the Chiefs defense has succumbed to exactly the type of moonball shit that Russell Wilson is doing. And with Pickens back, that feels more sustainable. I think the second and third wide receivers for Pittsburgh don't really get the credit they deserve. I don't think they're not ones, but they're good 2s and 3s. And I think, Chris Jones' injury, I think, matters. Even if he's only out there for a few snaps or not at all, that's huge. And the Kansas City defense, I think, is more like middling right now. I don't think this is a top 5 unit anymore.
It is too. If I use my
Pittsburgh's D.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's D2.
So if I use my season-long numbers, if I don't weight it more heavily for injuries and recent form, they're like 5th and 7th. But they're clearly not playing like the 5th and 7th best defenses.
Very, very well said. That's perfect. So this is an over.
It is probably an over. All right, Baltimore and Houston is your other Christmas Day game. This is at 3:30 Look ahead was -3. Baltimore opens -4. Bet one way. This is
Yeah.
one way. Road favorite 5.5. This total has dropped a little bit as well. Major injury, obviously, is Tank Dell out for the year after turning his knee into an absolute junkyard. I mean, it was a dislocated kneecap and an ACL. Shaq Mason was injured last week. That offensive line doesn't need that. Jimmy Ward, your free safety, he was placed in the IR. He's done for the year. Baltimore has their own injuries as well, though. Justice Hill, concussion, doesn't likely on a short week. Zay Flowers hasn't practiced yet. Daniel Falele has not practiced yet, the guard. So a couple issues on the offensive side for Baltimore. My numbers make this 4 and change. I guess I understand the move. And then, it's kind of a dead area between 4 and 5.
Sure.
It's not like it's gone wild.
Yeah, because this is a very straightforward reason.
The total actually agree with the move as well. I do kind of wonder about this being an underlook.
Okay. I think the reason that this has gotten steam is because if Baltimore covers, it's not going to be by a couple points. It's going to be it's going to be a skull crushing. And I agree with that. I think Baltimore is in another class, and I think they absolutely wax Houston in this spot. This is a brutal spot for Houston.
Deontay Johnson, instant revenge game. Yeah. With the Tank Dell injury, they did sign Deontay Johnson. I don't know that he makes it on the field this week, but we'll see.
That would
That'd
be
be
wild.
Interesting, obviously. It would be, I don't know about what revenge. It's not like he played for the Ravens at any given time. So moving to
I think Ravens.
if anything else on that. Yeah, Ravens.
Yeah.
I like the under bid. I think it should be like 45. Let me get this one in the into the the timestamps. All right, 6
Seattle
54.
plays the Chicago Bears in Chicago on Thursday.
So this is a sneaky bad travel spot.
It is actually.
Because, and I went and dug in and I actually looked at like beat reporters and followed, I went to the Field Gulls website to check in on everything. They did not practice today. They took Monday off.
Correct.
They will practice tomorrow, but then Wednesday morning, they didn't practice Monday. I'm off by one day. They will practice today, but they're giving them tomorrow off to spend the mornings with their families. And then they said they're going to get together, which sounds more like a walkthrough because they're flying on Wednesday. So essentially going into this Bears game with one practice with the season on the line is, I don't know, not great considering how the defense looked at times last week. It's obviously a big step down in class, and I'm not on with this number. I'm just saying if they come out and look really flat, sometimes practice matters because you're installing things specific to your opponent. You can say they've been at it for 18 weeks plus preseason. If you count the preseason, they should know what they're doing. Yeah, but you do install specific things for your opponent, and with a short practice week, that becomes tough.
I will say this, with no healthy running backs, it feels like Seattle has to tack into just throwing the ball every damn down. And that should work against the Bears, who can't defend the pass anymore for whatever reason. And then flip side,
they're continuing to sign just randoms at safety and corner right now.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good in Chicago. And then on the flip side, Chicago does not have any kind of offensive line to speak of. And the pass rush for Seattle is doing better. They have 3 healthy bodies that could really make them life miserable for Caleb Williams. So Seattle are past, but Andy's news and notes makes me want to get out of this one.
Yeah, it's a pass. I think this look at was 2.5, reopens 3. It is bet out to 3.5. This total, same thing. It's been bet one way direction. It's been bet up. I guess some of that probably.
I actually don't
betting on the Seattle offense. I guess you're betting on the Seattle offense, but I don't know how much credit you want to give this Bears offense. It's looked a little dull at times.
Has not been good, but the Bears defense is the biggest problem in this game, I think. So this
is a nice move. Patrick might have it here. Seattle team total over 20. I'm writing that one down in the book.
Especially because it could just be a lot of throwing the ball, right? So the game could be longer because it's either going to be chunk. There's a healthy dose of explosive plays possible in this one.
Yeah. And then obviously just
Saturday.
real quick on the injuries, they put you
yeah.
mentioned the offensive line. They put Braxton Jones on the IR. That was a nasty
good.
injury. Seattle both running backs are banged up. They said Charbonnet was just not 100. That's why they.
Oh, you think he goes then?
They say he was close to being able to be like.
Oh, that makes Seattle
load.
team total over 22.5 worth
Yeah,
that's like a point and a half too low.
I don't know what Kenneth Walker's deal is, and it's going to be tough with these lack of practices in a short week. But I think Charbonnet probably does go. Your next game up is Saturday. We've still not got to Sunday. Saturday triple header starts at noon. LAC, the Chargers at Seattle. This look ahead was 6.
Oh, Patriots.
Apparently, New England impressed the market, reopened 5.5, and it's been bet down to 4. This total, sitting still at 42. Yeah. I can check my screen. I can check the screen right now, but that's what I'd written down earlier this morning.
I saw it come off 6, and I was like, all right, fine, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah, it is a
it's down to
flat 4 right now. The
This
Chargers
is buyback
extra
Chargers
rest.
territory.
It kind of is. The Chargers are off extra rest off Thursday night. They are, I don't know, like it's not the best travel spot on a short week heading all the way across, but you played Thursday. You have extra time. You have extra practices that you can work around Christmas. I guess it's an outdoor team playing in a cold or an indoor team playing outdoors in a cold spot, but I make this like 7. So
yeah,
it's one thing for me.
Also, Drake May got hurt late in that Bills game. I don't know that he's 100%. This is Chargers at 4 is a bet. Sorry, this is Chargers.
Yeah,
Are we gonna see J.K. Dobbins?
I don't believe so. I kind of want to check it on that now.
If they don't play him, why didn't? I guess yeah. I guess I'm not sure what's going on with that.
So he was designated to return, but I don't know. A short week, we'll see.
Okay. I think this is the Chargers bet. I haven't played this game, but I can't believe it's at 4, honestly, especially considering what's going on in New England.
I was surprised this total didn't get a bet up because we've seen New England totals be bet up, and Patrick agrees with that as well. I don't know. It's fun that New England isn't terrible because it makes this game much more watchable as a standalone game.
Are we sure they're
Denver? Well, I mean, they're lively. I mean that. I think that
second half having a plus 14 on the Patriots and having a 14-point lead and still sweating that game was just absolutely the worst. In the second half with the fumble. Total. Oh, the team the 8. What was it? 9 plays in the fucking inside the 10. 9 plays. Oh my god! And
we weren't gonna vamp. We weren't gonna vamp much, but we do need to talk about that. It was 11 plays.
11? It was 11
inside the 10-yard line.
It felt like 1100.
It just felt like every play was just another opportunity to put the ball on the ground because they turned the ball over like 3 times.
And then they got the touchdown, and then they took it back. But yeah, the fumble luck in the second half of the Patriots was one of the most obscene things I've ever seen. They didn't recover 2, and they lost 2 or 3. I was just like, this can't be happening. All right,
it's not great.
Let's move on.
All right,
it's not that Patriots are not a serious team. Sorry, guys. So they should not be being bet this week. What are you doing, people?
Well, and even after the game, they talked about it. Josh Allen brought it up in a press conference. He basically said what you're not supposed to say, and like, hey, we're not busting out the good plays for these games. I mean, he said like, we would love the 1 seed, but we can't do it by ourselves unless that opportunity opens. We're not going to go all out and put everything on film and risk everybody in games.
I didn't hear him say that. I'm glad you said that though, because that's very honest.
It is very honest. So Denver at the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati got their win last week against DTR. I'm not sure I can do much with that. Denver pissed the game away. Denver back-to-back travel spots, but again, same as the Chargers, off Thursday Night Football, get a little bit extra rest, whereas Cincinnati has the short week playing from Sunday to Saturday. This line was 6. Excuse me, this was 3.5 on the look ahead. Reopens with spendy 3. Total's been bet up. Look at was 47.5. Reopens 48. Bet up to 49. I was really unimpressed with DTR, I guess, because this is a defense that basically, I mean, not to use the gross analogy again, but it's the girl you go on a date with and you bring condoms Like
Everybody's turn.
Yeah, you're expecting to get home there, and they didn't. I don't even know if they took snaps inside the red zone. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Their one touchdown was a long run.
That was all DTR. That was not the Cincy D.
No, the Cincy defense is still bad. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed for Cleveland for putting up 6 points there.
I'm shocked this came off 3 and it's 3.5. I think this is clearly and obviously Denver, but I'm still sore for Denver second half performance against the Chargers. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, in my head, it's like I was scared to bet Indy because of what they did to me. I bet Indy, I was rewarded. So
yeah,
should I go back to the not being a pussy?
Although you were rewarded and then you had to sweat completely unnecessarily.
I did. I forgot that actually got sweaty at the end.
Completely
we needed a
unnecessarily.
first down. I'm gonna have to do some upgrading here too. My numbers aren't quite. Even though I have, it's crazy the disparity in the defensive ratings I have here. It's my 30th.
This is like best versus defense. Worst. Yeah.
So
Riley Moss back, right?
I believe so.
Okay, so Denver or pass. Period.
Yeah, it's hopeful. They're hopeful. It could be a crucial game for them for positioning your night game on Saturday. The Arizona Cardinals versus the Los Angeles Rams. Look ahead was 3.5, reopens 5.5 after the Rams, whatever, ho-hum, get a win, but Arizona looked bad, lost in overtime, up to 6.5. This total has been bet down slightly at 48. Arizona off back-to-back roadies. What do you think of this team who's now eliminated and, in a dead spot?
Yeah, I mean, the market is expecting a healthy amount of quit, but I don't know. They might play a spoiler. I thought the comments from Gannon. Gannon? Is that his name? Jonathan Gannon. I thought his comments were actually kind of refreshing and actually could engender a little bit of like, well, let's play spoiler here. But that said, like the Rams, I believe in their offense. I thought their defense actually was part of the story, more so than the Cincy defense being part of the story. That said, they didn't put up much of a fight the first time they played these guys, and they don't match up well. So this should actually be a competitive game. And if I had to play a side, I would play the Cardinals, and I would do it reluctantly.
Yeah. The numbers, and again, I haven't updated everything yet for power ratings. I updated obvious things I needed to change, but my numbers can't even get close to the 6.5. It depends what you want to do about this offense for the Cardinals, because you're going to be down Paris Johnson and Jonah Williams. Both tackles are going to be out, and James Conner has the knee injury. So it's suddenly going to be even worse on what they have available to them in the offense. And we've seen, Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously what he's brought to the table over the last few weeks. It's been a tough hang with the Cardinals. They got to 30 points last week, but it was against Carolina. This is going to be maybe a tough one for them with those tackles out against this pass rush. So nothing for me in this one, and we will move on to Sunday. And I'm going out of rotation order on this, and I don't give a fuck. I'm just doing it in the order I had because, well, they flex games, they move games.
I always mess it up anyway, man.
We're just going to go in the noon slate. The noon slate is going to start with New York Jets at Buffalo Bills, -10 look ahead, 10.5-ish now. This total has dropped from 48.5 on the look ahead, 47 on the open, down to 46. Buffalo's defense looked like hammered dog shit last week, and they probably should have given up more points. Yeah, they probably should have given up more points. They probably should have lost that game. They were lucky to get a defensive score. They were lucky to get all the fumble luck. And I hate to go to war with the Jets, but man, the Jets felt a little unlucky last week too. The Jets didn't punt.
Yes.
I'm sure that's been said a million times, but it's crazy. Like they didn't run good fourth down plays. They had a missed field goal. They missed an extra point. They probably should have been competitive in that Rams game. They looked competitive 2 weeks ago. I guess it depends what you get from them this week from an effort level, but Rodgers doesn't seem to have the quit in him.
I would love to be banging the table that this is a Jets bet. I've been fading I loved going to war against the Bills last week, and it worked out luckily. But the Ole Fashanu injury scares me here.
Yeah, losing your left tackle and having a grandpa
and
quarterback,
especially
sucks.
because of what everyone was saying, which was like his presence and his stability at left tackle really was what was unlocking Rodgers in that offense. But that said, like Devontae Adams and Rodgers are vibing. Wilson's still awesome. This is a passing offense that should have no problem teeing off on this Bills D. And also, there's in the back of my head, like, I don't have a bet in this game, but I just want your opinion. Do you think there's a chance that Josh Allen just doesn't play? Like, if the Chiefs win, like, it's over. Like, why would you even play Allen?
Is it over?
Yeah. So, Chiefs win, they're the 1 seed.
Can't week 18 go their way? Or they have 2-game lead?
They would need to be tied. And right now the Bills have 3 losses.
Yeah,
and the Chiefs have 1.
It is 12-3. For some reason, the Chiefs had another loss in my head. You're right. That's interesting. Maybe this is a wait for Kansas City to play. I think Josh Allen does want that MVP, but even he said, like, I mean, he was banged up. He had something wrong with his elbow that was bothering his hand. And if this is a game that's dead, I don't know. Is there any way they could drop to the 3 seed? Doesn't seem like it.
No, because I do not think that it's possible for the Ravens to pass them in tie breaks. Is it?
So yeah,
the Ravens beat them head to head.
Buffalo could be 14-3. The Ravens have 5 losses. The Steelers have 5 losses. So like, yeah, the 2 seed is your worst case scenario right now. They're 12-3.
That was kind of my thought too.
Yeah, they could be
both 12-5. If they're both 12-5, they lose the head-to-head tiebreak. So yeah, I guess Allen's playing regardless. Okay. But whatever the case is, I don't know. I don't know how much this game matters at all to them. And I don't know. Do you think Allen could fumble the MVP if he's not very good in this game?
Yeah, I mean, if you do it 3 weeks in a row against inferior opponents, and Lamar storms the team back to the division title, and that's like the narrative, or Saquon runs for 400 yards in the next 2 weeks. That narrative plays a lot better than Josh Allen barely beats the Patriots twice.
Right.
Or Josh Allen goes 1-1 against the Patriots in a game that doesn't matter. That's what stinks. Is like if the Chiefs do win, I wonder what Buffalo does next week.
They rest everyone. That's their bye.
Yeah, that is kind of your bye week. Keep an eye on Sauce Gardner and Tony Adams in the defensive secondary. They were banged up. Quinnen Williams still not playing. I don't know. He may be back this week, but if there weren't all these things going against it, this would be an over if this were the middle of the season, based on the matchups. But the vibes of the game aren't great for that. So
okay,
we move on to your second noon game. Oh, gross! This is a bad noon slate, guys. I'm sorry. I don't like to dog on football. Most trying to be against Drew on that when he says mean things about football, but this is a fucking horrible noon slate. Las Vegas at New Orleans. New Orleans was a 2.5-point favorite on the look ahead. That is no longer true. They are a 1-point dog. This total has dropped from 39.5 to 37.5 when it reopened. And the Saints, the Aints, the team who didn't score, is off short rest playing on Monday Night Football. This is a game that I will explore a little bit as the week goes on, but I don't know that there's a good reason to bet this game. Is there?
No comment here. I didn't even watch Monday Night Football. I have no idea what's going on with the Saints right now. I'll take your word for it.
Rattler, the too long didn't read. Rattler was
sucks.
Not good against a defense that's been playing a lot better lately, but yeah, everything stunk. They didn't have any of their good players. What are you going to do? But they couldn't even get it done in garbage time. It was pretty bad.
Let's move on. This is Sharfart game of the week.
Century. Indianapolis at the New York Giants is 7.5 on the look ahead, up to 8.
Correct.
The Giants 40 for a total, up to 40.5. The Giants looked lively for a few minutes last week, and then
had a pick six, and then they had another pick six, and it was over.
Not to be. Yeah, the pick sixes were a problem, but this is a big number for a team on the road. Like Indy is a road favorite of over a touchdown feels like so much. It is going to be Drew Lock who plays. I guess we saw how that went last week. Tommy DeVito did clear the concussion protocol if they want to go to him, I guess.
Oh, fun.
I don't know. The thing about this that will keep me off the Giants is losing money on the Giants last week.
There's another thing that should keep you off.
Jonathan
The Giants,
Taylor?
no, the Giants now no longer have the Giants now control their own destiny for
do
the
control their
number one
destiny.
pick.
You don't have to lose against the spread to get the number one pick, though.
That's a good point.
I'm just
it's
saying
a close enough number. It's close enough.
I'm just saying it's such a big number for Indianapolis. Where if you want to go to the counter and bet Indianapolis, you should probably just take some alts on Jonathan Taylor again. Like, oh, you can't do it 2 weeks. You can't do it 2 weeks. No, they clearly put together a game plan, especially after he threw the pick, where it said, "Well, we're going to call about 10 more passing plays all game, and if we get a lead, we're going to call even fewer." And they just fed him, and this is not a good defense as well. Like it is going to be a ton of running. So
I love that one. Let's keep going.
Your next game is Carolina at Tampa Bay, 8.5 down to 8.
Oh, Tampa. My goodness gracious.
This total's up to 49.5. So this total it reopened higher and it was bet up as well. I don't know what do you make of the Tampa defense?
I guess I don't know what to make of the Tampa Dallas game at all.
Yeah.
Like what the hell was that final score relative to the way those two teams performed? Like the Dallas success rate in that game was absolutely putrid. Like, how in the fuck did they get the points they got, and how did Tampa not get that win?
It came down to Tampa had the 2 turnovers, Dallas did not, and then Dallas basically has to get to midfield, and they get 3 points.
Unbelievable.
Like, they were not driving deep.
Aubrey. It's all Aubrey.
Aubrey's making like 55 yarders without an issue. So yeah,
making
Colts
55 look like 35.
Colts are probably a decent tease, even though I said I can't get to that number.
Oh, I love that, Patrick. Great call.
That's pretty good.
Great call.
Patrick probably still win. Back to this one.
So
I
my
don't know what to make of Tampa. Carolina is not quitting though.
Tampa's run defense is elite. They're going to continue. They're going to put this game on Bryce Young's shoulder. He is now no longer under pressure about having a starting job in Carolina, which is amazing. Yeah. But it's true. And I think ultimately Tampa wins this one by margin, and they need help now to get into the playoffs. We might see fucking just an absolute zombie Atlanta team hosting a playoff game, which is amazing to me.
It should be something. Yeah, that's a bet against if Atlanta makes the playoff. I think both these teams probably are. Although Tampa Bay at least has a pretty fun offense at times. Don't know. Yeah, it was the turnovers. Tough luck, short week. Not a great spot for them, but I don't know. I think this total is actually a little high.
Okay.
At 49.5. Now that's got up here. Your next one is 28, 27. Is Tennessee at Jacksonville. This is kind of in there with the Las Vegas New Orleans.
Actually, this is a throwback to days of old. Why isn't this game on Thursday? Why isn't this game on Thursday? Why didn't they give us 2 Thursday night games? Seattle, Chicago, and put this one on the undercard. I have nothing here. Mac Jones experience is just an absolute shit show. Can't believe that guy almost won Rookie of the Year. This is Mason Rudolph, I'm assuming. He did well enough last week.
They did announce that today. He will start again.
All right. Fuck, man. This is terrible. This is an absolute joke.
Yeah, this total was 39. And look at it. They tried to open it higher and it got back down again. 39.5.
Oh man, that was a bad opener.
It still hasn't probably been bet down far enough. I think the main issue with this being much lower is that Jacksonville's defense is just so
it's
bad.
super terrible.
And Tennessee, what they let go against Jonathan Taylor. Like I know it's not the same, but they have a couple of decent running backs in Jacksonville. So I don't have a strong take on this one. I think this number is probably about fine for two teams that
you think this has shower fart over potential. I'm not playing this. I'm not betting this game.
A shover? Are we calling it a shover?
A
shower fart over?
Is this a shower fart over? It might be. Chauffeur.
Rudolph wasn't terrible in garbage time, and it's all garbage time when you're playing Jacksonville. God, see, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not betting this game. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about something.
I get betting it. I'm
not talking about something. Let's keep moving.
Also, real quick too on Tennessee, they had a mess of injuries on Saturday as well. On the defense,
that whole rundown was just gross.
And Radins, and then also the Jags are down probably a couple of tackles. Harrison and Little were out. Plus, they lost some defense. Yeah, not a game you want to really bet into. Your next one up is Dallas at Philly. This was 11.5 on look ahead. Obviously, the Hurts injury changes thing. It's down to 9.5. I'm not even sure if it's off at some places. This total also dropped like a rock. 44.5 on look ahead. Now sitting at 41. I don't know what the market assumes. It feels like a halfway number for Pickett, but also I don't think Pickett's that bad because of the situation. Like it is a full-on. He threw a pick, but it was like the defense was the problem in that game, not Pickett. They scored a lot of points off the turnovers, and I think they can put a game plan together that makes it work with Kenny Pickett if they have time to prep for it, which they do. Whereas it's still a lot of points, but like it's the Dallas run defense against Saquon Barkley.
It's the under, though. Yeah, because Dallas might score 3 in this game.
Yeah, Philly's defense got yelled at after the game.
Dallas ain't scoring. Dude, Philly, by the way, Philly wins and probably covers if Devontae Smith just catches that pass.
Yeah, they probably should have won that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was a fluke. That was a fluky result. That was a fluky result that has created a buy low on Philly, if you need my opinion. But Jalen Hurts' injury complicates it. So I haven't done it.
If it continues to get bet down, it's going to end up in some teasers for me as well, which leads me into Miami at Cleveland. This is your first 3:00 game. Your only 3:05 game. There's only 2 late games. This and the Packers game. Look ahead was 3. It is out to 6.5 on the reopen. Yeah, I believe this one got moved a little bit. So Miami, Miami's not dead, right? I believe that's correct.
Miami's very much not. No one. Yeah, no one in the fringes is dead because like Denver could lose out. Yeah. Denver could lose this game as 3.5-point dogs. Denver's going to be dogs to Kansas City, even if it's Carson Wentz, I assume. Is that game in Denver or is that game in? They're probably maybe they're not going. There probably won't be dogs to Carson Wentz at home, but they might be. I don't
know. This total dropped a bunch too, and again, both of the moves, the 3.5-point move off the look ahead on the side, and the 2.5-point move to the total are very DTR heavy.
DTR was atrocious as expected. What a disaster. I don't know. Cleveland needs to be positioning themselves for the draft and drafting a rookie quarterback to start next year because they don't have an answer right now.
Yeah, so this team total under is going to be like 16.5, but it still might be something worth playing. Under Miami defense is well.
Andy,
but Miami defense plays well against shitty teams.
Secret pod play. Cleveland team total under 14.5. I'll go as low as 14.5. I'll allow it.
Yeah, I can buy that. This is a better defense than they played last week by a lot.
And
they only got the 6 points. So
yeah, and it's not like a full week of preparing with DTR, knowing he was going to be your guy, helped you at all. And it's not like there's a lot of teach tape on last week's performances for Cleveland. This is just a broken offense right now. All right, let's move on.
Green Bay at Minnesota, the only good game Sunday. Very important. Both teams looked good, obviously in different ways. Minnesota had a tough opponent on the road, got it done late. Green Bay beat the ever-living shit out of a Terrible team who's missing all their good players. I mean, they didn't have anyone left on offense, and Green Bay kind of did what they want. They had the backup running backs in pretty quick. I mean, Malik Willis finished that game out.
So what do you think? Who's better right now, Green Bay or Minnesota?
I have them so close.
I have Green Bay slightly better.
Yeah, I have them essentially equal on a neutral. This is in Minnesota, which is one of the better home fields. It's down to a pick 'em now. So this number has moved down a little. This total is 49, kind of holding steady about where it's been. But this side down to a pick 'em. Yeah. Kind of feels like Minnesota, but
no, I'm oppo. Like this is not the kind of game you ever really want to put serious money on, because this time of year and what we know about these teams, this is one of the easiest markets to price of the entire season. Would you agree with that? Like there's not like an edge to be really found in this game. Like the market kind of understands who these two teams are and how close they are. And it's just like, fine, fire away. Do you want to flip a coin? Flip a coin, right? I would just tell you that if I was flipping a coin, I would call Green Bay, and I would do it because of the current state of the offensive line for Minnesota. The defense for Minnesota does feel like they're a little bit leaking oil, and the effort last week for Minnesota was high. It was a tough game. They came through, and now and Green Bay basically got a glorified practice. Like this is probably Green Bay. And honestly, what I'm most interested about this game is what it does to the coach of the year market, because if Kevin loses ingloriously, that opens the door for Campbell. It opens the door for Quinn. I don't know. You have a read right now on what coach of the year opens, or basically how is coach of the year decided if Green Bay wins this game by 2 scores?
It might end up being, I mean, it depends what happens, I suppose, in the long run between Detroit and Minnesota. If Detroit follows it up somehow,
which I think they could.
They could. I still might bet them, but I don't know. I don't know who has the inside track on the other guys. Campbell having like a 16-1 season, or what would they be at? Do they have?
He's lost 2. If he loses the third, he'll be 14-3.
15-2 season for Man Campbell. If he overtakes KOC, he beats KOC in that finale, because he's and that there's a bit of narrative to that, like, hey, he doesn't need this game. He wants to beat his rival. He's playing his starters. He's running.
He's that sick.
He's that much of a fucking sicko, guys. Like that narrative kind of plays too, doesn't it?
It does.
So my pushback on betting Green Bay, and I probably won't bet this game. Is the defense is getting Harrison Smith back, and maybe getting Ivan Pace back, and he matters so much in the run game. And at the same time, I don't have updates on Josh Jacobs or Christian Watson, who were both exited last week's game. Watson, they sounded like it wasn't a huge deal. It's not going to be missing a lot of time, but it's a short week, and it was a real injury. And Jacobs matters a ton, obviously. If those guys aren't 100%, and basically this is going to come down to how does the injury news go. If Pace is in and one of those guys is out, Minnesota at under 2 is probably a bet.
Okay.
At home.
Right.
But I mean, you're right. This number is very good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably not going to bet that game. But again, if I had to flip a coin, I'm calling Green Bay. Let's move on.
Atlanta at Washington.
Not impressed with the Penix experience. This is very obviously Washington. What do you think?
Penix.
I'm wish casting. I don't want Atlanta in the playoffs. What's your opinion?
I have trouble with Penix because he looked good, but a lot of it was just short dump offs to running backs and a defense that was unable, unwilling, and impressed with wanting to tackle any of those guys. Like, he looked fine on some anticipation throws, but it's not like we saw some master class from this kid. It was against a really bad defense, and his defense was able to stake him some points. I don't know that he's good. I think he was fine. And this Washington defense hasn't been great either. He's going to play 2 more bad defenses at the end of the year. It's going to be hard to have a really good read on him. I guess keep an eye on the Atlanta defensive injuries. He was coming back. Sounds like Drake London is fine. He's going to play.
Oh, is he?
Washington. Yeah. So
that was actually part of my angle. I really thought.
Well, they came out and said after the game that if it weren't a blowout, he would have gone back in. Like they basically said, we're up by 4 scores. Like he didn't need to go out there and play. Okay. The other part is keep an eye on Lattimore. He got back in and then immediately had a hamstring injury again. That would have helped. That would have super helped. So, yeah, if it is that conservative kind of offense for Atlanta again,
about the tackle Wiley.
I'm agreeing.
Washington tackle.
I don't have updates on him.
He kind of matters. Andrew Wiley.
I almost typed in Redskins. Jesus, Andrew Wiley. It's hard to break. It's been like 5 years, man.
Teeny tiny interest for me in Washington.
Under.
Okay.
Or Atlanta team total under. I don't know. I think that might have been a bit of mirage.
Yeah.
I'm with Giorgio on this one. So
yeah. Okay.
Closing out the week on Monday night, and it sounded like you were against me here. My numbers are kind of against me here.
Well,
God, no, they're not. Never mind.
I don't know what to do with this game at all. I just feel like I'm waiting for the Niners to be spoilers, and this would be the only spot they can actually do it at this point. So fucking do something, Atlanta. San Francisco. Do something.
The issue is they're shutting guys down too. So Trent Williams out for the year. Yep. Backup left tackle Jalen Moore ripped his quad up on Sunday. He's out for the year. Aaron Banks, another offensive lineman, MCL injury, out for the year. Dre Greenlaw is getting an MRI. Jair Brown is day-to-day. Spencer Burford, another backup tackle, getting an MRI. Like they've had zero good news.
Okay, you're twisting my arm that this is not one to bet.
It's such a bad Detroit defense, but Dan Campbell's kind of come out and already said too, it doesn't matter what happens during the week. We're playing our game. And I feel like that's coach speak for 29, 30 other guys, but Dan Campbell means it because he's an idiot. And he will just play all his starters.
I
told somebody in the Discord, I said ideally they score 40 points and lose like 3 important starters on offense. Because that is like the funniest outcome.
That's what you deserve if you do that sort of thing. I agree.
I'll lay it with I'm going to lay it.
I'm out of this game. I'm out of that game. I can't lay Detroit against the Niners with this defense. No thanks.
I mean, what is your rating on? I know you might not have everything in front of you or updated, but what is your rating on Detroit or the Niners right now? You can't have them as like anywhere above a league average team.
No, I'm a -1 for them.
So, I mean, it depends where you have Detroit and how much my home field for San Francisco is about 1.
Yeah.
Maybe a little ding for having the travel disadvantage, but
I am off mark.
Your Detroit number should be.
I'm off mark.
Should be 5.5.
No. Oh God, no. No way. With this defense, no.
Defense doesn't matter.
I know. I know it doesn't as much, but
the offense is too good.
No. You can't not have downgraded them with the personnel that has vacated. Can't.
Oh no, I have them as a horrid defense, but it's still like the 3rd best offense in the league, and that matters a lot more.
I don't know, man. I don't know about their best offense in the league at this point. They're good, but they're not that good. Laporta good? Is Laporta going?
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay, maybe they're in the top 5, but they're not. They're not so ripping awesome that you have to respect them to the tune of this big of a number on the road. Sorry. Maybe I'll come around on Detroit before we get to the end of the season.
It's another one too where it's like if the Lions win, they win by a lot.
Okay.
Like it's one of those where I hate to say this is such an idiot thing. I don't care about the number. I do care about the number, but I don't care if it's 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. Like those. It doesn't feel like those come into play.
This is that. I would have said exactly the same thing about the Baltimore game. Like,
No,
the number's
it's
not
what
gonna
it's what
matter.
you it's
Yeah.
it's what you said. It's kind of what you said earlier in the podcast.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, I'm almost up anyone from laying lines. I'm just telling you that I'm not seeing it right now, but maybe I'm the idiot. I played
This would be
Chicago
fun.
last week, and it was not a really competitive game.
No, they got
Ultimately.
they got two turnovers
Yeah.
early, and they
Early,
didn't have
and
to
it was
go
just
high.
over. It was just over. Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're up 20-0. Well,
Yeah.
let's bust out the funny plays now. Let's get
Yeah.
memed. Let's
Let's
meme
get-
some shit, guys. Any Christmas greetings you want to send the
Well, just
listeners?
love and appreciation for everybody who tunes into this show. If you're watching live, a special love and appreciation to you. I hope you and your family and everyone who you care about has a wonderful Christmas and a healthy and happy start to the new year. How about you?
I believe Hanukkah begins on the 25th this year. Sundown tomorrow. So happy Hanukkah to the chosen
Andy,
ones.
I like that sweatshirt you got. That's a new sweatshirt. You got early Christmas present?
So I've had this. I just was one of those.
Oh.
It gets like buried in the closet, and then you find it like, oh yeah, look at this thing.
Nice.
I love. It's a very comfy sweatshirt. I did get some early Christmas presents because we hosted Saturday. I got a few nice things. It was nice.
When I get home and we're kind of back to normal, we'll tell stories. I got so many stories from Savannah. This has been a very, very fun trip. We've had a lot of great food and drinks so far, and it's two more nights. So, having an absolute ball. Although sad news, the best bar in Savannah closed. The Ordinary, which was a basement bar on Broughton. Best place because like Savannah, you can like open carry, right?
It's like
drinks,
it's like
drinks.
it's
Drinks,
like
not gun. Maybe you could probably open carry guns too, but you can open carry drinks. And so you want to do some shopping on Broughton Street, you go to the Ordinary, you get their absolute world-class Bloody Mary, and then you do a little shopping, you get your holiday shopping finished out. And we went to do that, and the Ordinary was closed because they had the hurricane, 14 inches of rain in like 24 hours or whatever. Foundation failed. Third floor brick building, masonry building collapsed, and so the whole thing's been red tagged. So it sucks. No, you don't want to be in a basement bar of a masonry building that's on the verge of collapsing. So yeah, that was kind of a bummer.
All right, R.I.P. Savannah.
Otherwise, otherwise everything about this place rocks. So I found a couple of new places that I really like. So
sometimes
tit for tat.
Sometimes it takes that. Like I just
tat.
do that to my wife. Where we go to restaurants, that we've been to, and she orders the same damn thing. I have to tell her like you have to order something new sometimes. And she always turns out like, oh, I did like this. I'm glad you made me do that. So I'm glad. I'm not saying I'm glad that bar collapsed and that owner is probably not having a great time, but I'm glad you found some new bars. I don't know. I probably won't be going to many bars here until we get to the weekend, but I hope everyone has safe travels. I'm sorry this was a bit of an abbreviated one, but
we gave this week exactly what. Yeah, and also we gave this week more than it was deserved.
There's some tough games. Yeah, if we missed anything because we did go pretty quick, by all means, hit us up in the comments, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know if we missed anything for sure, because I appreciate your help all the time. So secret pod play before we go. Luke's asking, was it Seattle, Cleveland?
Browns under.
Browns under.
Good at any price.
The opposite of a floater. Browns under. Good at any price now. Under 14 and a half is a reasonable price. 16 and a half probably isn't going to matter, but who knows what those guys will do, those crazy kids. So appreciate you guys. I don't know what the weekend's going to look like for pods.
We'll do some stuff.
I'm probably having dinner right at halftime of the noon game tomorrow.
Well, we'll get back to it on Saturday. Something like that.
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be pretty tough.
Tomorrow. Just let's bag it.
Both half times are going to fall at terrible times.
Terrible times. And then Thursday's probably
this weekend.
But yeah, Saturday, Sunday, we'll do some fun shit.
Oh, right, Thursday I have to do Pizzola's thing for first quarter. So even if you're not around, I'll just do one. So we'll have a halftime one way or the other. I might need you guys to carry me again. Shout out to the chat. They kind of helped. They pushed me towards Emmanuel Wilson, and I mean, there are people who got like 11-1 on that.
Oh, hot damn!
Halftime. So good job to the chat.
You should just listen to the chat.
I mean, in shitty games like that where the game is decided already, That's
an
kind of the
11-1
game
winner
plan.
from
Is
the chat. That sounds fucking awesome.
you go to the chat. The half I think had an over on his yardage, which he got easily. It was a good day for the Discord, even though like the game wasn't super fun. So it's nice when you have one of those. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, all the rest of the holidays. See you guys.